All right. I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the 3% Show. We're here. I always tell people my motto and something that I live by is people will always tell you 97% of their truth, but the 3% unspoken normally holds power, no matter if it's good, bad. It could be something that drives you or that has devastated you in the past. And we're here to talk about some things just in case you need to hear it. You never know what you might hear. Today, I am blessed. I am excited. I don't think he understands, but we are here with Shawn T Brown. And for those who know him, pretty much everybody in the dot probably know of this basketball legend, but it's always more to him. So I appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
I appreciate it so much, CJ. And before we get started, I have to say something, if that's okay.
Cool beans.
I want to tell you that I'm so proud of you. And listen, and you are a legend, right? I mean, I'm definitely older, but I've seen you grow up into this wonderful man that you are today. And you giving people flowers, I want to be sure to give you your flowers as well, because what you are doing is amazing. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm honored to be here today.
I appreciate that. I truly do. It means a lot coming from you. I always remind people, yes, I am from Kansas City. A lot of people don't understand what being raised in the middle, literally in the middle of the map is. We're overlooked, we're a second thought, and being in situations like that, depending on where you're from, you carry that mentality. And you have those who go off to do great things. You have those who go off to do great things and then come back home. And then you have people that never leave but still make huge impacts. And this brother, the reason why I admire him, number one, is his smile. It always caught me off guard. I'm like, why is this brother happy? And it's not just for this taping. He's always had it. But to know that he's such a great person and full of joy and want to project great things for people. And then you can see a switch. And if he's on a basketball court, he gets that shoulder, that hitch, that little hitch he do with his head like that, like Tim Hardaway. So it's just, to me, it was so important to see a man involved in sports be able to deal with sports. And then I've been watching him, no matter if it's social media or just hearing about great stories with camaraderie with his classmates and more, see him go above and beyond at all times. So living life at 100%, it is obtainable. True enough, nobody's perfect, but why should we not try to strive every day to perfection? Every day you wake up to try to obtain it.
That's right. That's right.
So brother, how you feeling today?
Man, every day. I'm grateful. I'm blessed to have my 80-year-old mom with me. And let me tell you, every day she wakes up and I'm blessed just to hug her, give her a kiss, but I never hear her or see her complain. So listen, so I have, even when things are coming my way, I always tell people all the time that you're either in a storm, exiting a storm, or getting ready to enter a storm, right? There's always something on the horizon. But when I see her every single day at 80, to be grateful, I'm grateful every single day. And that's why I'm the man that I am, is because of Mary Brown, my mom.
And you know, that's so important because first of all, I was going to start off with how you doing, but more than anything, I immediately have this as far as I have my notes to say, tell me about your upbringing and family, because I know that's huge for you. It's legacy building. It's very sincere in your roots. So give us a little bit of background about your upbringing and your family, if you don't mind.
Okay, I sure will. Listen, I'm proud and honored to do this. Listen, I'm from the dot, just like you, baby, Kansas City, Kansas. Grew up right there off of 57th Street, actually Lord. Next door to the Hooks and them, way back in the day, before finishing off of No Guard down by Hazel Grove. But I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so for me growing up, I've seen some of the mistakes that 5 of my siblings made. And so being the youngest, listen, I just learned from them. So I look at them and really they are the ones that made the sacrifices that really helped me become the person that I am today, along with my mom, my dad. My dad was just a hard working man. And he taught me how to be a man, a true man, right? I seen him love my mom until the day he passed away. They were married for 50 years. And he passed away in 2008. And so just really growing up, seeing my brothers, my father play ball or really wasn't an athlete. But
Mhm.
my older brother Herman also went to Schlegel and played at Schlegel. My older brother Corey, who's 2 years older than me, also went to Schlegel and played. And so, man, and all my sisters went there as well. So I was like sixth generation going to FL Schlegel, man. And when my time came, you know, I credit all of them because I just took pieces of my brother Corey, my brother Herman, you know, and of course the neighborhood, right? The hood that we grew up in that just raised us from just hooping outside in the parking lot. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. So life, as far as I knew it, man, it was wonderful. Seriously, it was just wonderful. Waking up, taking care of my chores, right? My father was definitely a disciplinarian. And I know at an early age, I knew this, that I want to take a piece of my dad and a piece of my mom, because my dad was a no nonsense type of dude. He's saying, listen, son, these streets are not going to take you. I will take you out first if you are not handling your business and doing what you're supposed to do. Let me tell you. And I believe that wholeheartedly, but my mom had this unconditional love, brother, right? No matter what, that unconditional love was there. So I want to make sure as I grew up, I want to take a piece out of each one of them and kind of mold it together. And that's who I really am today.
Absolutely. And I think that's a beautiful thing because, you know, growing up, we go through so many things. Sometimes you might hear me talk about our past as far as being 1980 lies, because, you know, back in those days, we didn't have the platform to openly talk about mental health or emotions or even families. So when I see you love on your mom, express for your wife, express for your kids, it's a beautiful thing. And it's also healthy because so many times we see we're basically desensitized without even knowing who our neighbors are or wanting to know who they are.
Absolutely.
Family members, we have to learn, I believe in this social media area, that we forgot how to talk and touch, being able to love on each other.
That's right.
Like I say, some of my best memories were at Thursdays at night after I played outside, did my chores.
Yes.
I knew the whole family was going to be gathered around at 7 o'clock watching the Cosby Show.
Absolutely. Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the era I grew up in. That's and being from Rosedale and Belrose Manor, you know, that's rough. I mean, we had Harama Dickerson, George Fullen.
Yeah.
We had all those big guys, and they made us play tackle the man with the football.
Absolutely.
When we didn't catch the ball, they put it in our hands and then tackled us with hurl and all them. So, you know, I just appreciate your parents. And that was something I was going to say, even your dad, because I was on social media around. No. I remember you said something about him and it was so important. And then periodically I would see you speak on certain things, life lessons, and the way that you love on your mom while she's here, and your family is so important. And I thought, you know, it's only right for me to understand how people and that don't know you will see your infectious smile. We'll see, well, why is he happy? Is it he has the cameras on? I'm like, this is genuine to me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And like I tell people, you never know who watched you, because if I remember, you came down, you were at Butler, right?
Garden City.
Garden City. Were you coaching at Butler by any chance?
Yep. No, not at Butler. So Garden City Community.
I know Garden City.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because I think you played at Belrose Manor when they had the men's league one time.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's one of the greatest leagues there was.
Absolutely. And Al doesn't give too many people props, but when you walked in,
absolutely.
Typically said, watch this dude right here. Watch how fast he
is. Yes.
So growing up in Wyandotte County, so we're going to talk about WYCO.
Okay.
Lessons learned. And I have to give a shout out to Schlegel, because y'all were some of the baddest mofos I've
Stallions, ever. That's right, baby.
Even class of 1990. I was a baseball player, but I kept hearing about people like Jabo. And then I started hearing about Demetrius Floyd. Then I started hearing about Schlegel and more.
Yes.
How was life growing up in Wyandotte County in that era? Because people got to understand this was a heavy era that we were just now in. We were in the midst.
Absolutely.
Of so many different things in the Black community and even more.
Yes. You know, it's molded me to who I am today. And a lot of people at that time, I came out and graduated in 1990. But man, we were just on the cusp of the game starting to move in, right? And our rivals being Wyandotte was red and we were blue at FL Schlegel. That just made the rivalry that much more.
Right.
But at that exact same time, man, the reason I love my upbringing from the dot is the streets, man. They understood that I was a hooper. I wasn't out there in some of them other things. And I don't knock them, man, because we don't understand what they had to deal with in their life, right? That they had to wake up and to do what they had to do to put food on the table.
Right.
And so and I had so many friends and still got a lot of friends today. But it's because of this basketball and the respect that the streets had for this ball that made my time growing up in Wyandotte County, man, phenomenal. I wouldn't change it for the world. I remember as a young kid rolling through the city, and I had my little Chevy S10. Boom. I hit one corner. I may be trying to go to a court down in Parker or whatever, just to go hoop, right? We're always looking for a place to hoop. Right. And I see the Crips on one corner. I roll by them, boop, 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 give them a peace sign. They like, what's up, what's up, Brown? Boom. I go a little ways and I may see somebody else on another corner. Boop, boop, boop. What up, Brown? Right. And so the love, that mutual respect was there. Right. And still today, I don't look down upon anybody about what they had to go through, but I want them to grow through it. You know what I mean? And so we want to take everything that we've gone through and that has helped mold us and really just pay it forward, man. Teach the other kids, teach this next generation so they don't have to go through what we had to go through in order to get here and share our stories today.
Absolutely. And I truly believe and understand what you're coming to. It's a code, and it used to be a code.
It is. Yeah.
And I'm thankful for it. I can't lie. I benefited from it.
Absolutely.
Growing up on 10th and Quindale, I mean, you had everything. I mean, Franco and them lived behind me. It was when I was younger, letting me hoop. Big Potts, Eric Potts. We had so many people around.
Yes.
Yeah. When you go to certain territories, you had that pass. Absolutely had that pass. Not only did you have a pass, not all of them wanted anything from you. They just wanted you to succeed and represent where you're from.
That's it.
They held you accountable for everything that you did. You better make the grades. Hey, this is about to go down. You need to leave.
Absolutely. That's happened so many times, brother.
Absolutely. And I truly, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of my best friends have the dirtiest hands, but they never let me get dirty. And I always say, I'm like Ace off of Paid in Full. I knew everything going on. I had my money making Mitch. I seen the Ricos. I go to Skate Land.
Yes.
After that, it was time to go.
It was time to go. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. It's like they protected you, right?
Absolutely. And it was perhaps, and without knowing it, it taught me what respect was.
Yes.
Because not only from the streets, you have to understand that Wyandotte County is so rich in history as far as music and athletes.
Absolutely.
It's brilliant people. Then you get into the elders that might have went to Sumner Academy.
Yes.
Before us, you had.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize my uncle Alfredo was a beast. Alfredo Monroe. I didn't know it.
Yes.
Butch Ellison was like, Alfredo Monroe is Joe. Oh man, no wonder why you playing.
Yes, so. He's a goat. He's a goat, right?
Absolutely. But my thing is for you and people beyond you, and they came after you, such as Earl and Chris Weems.
Great ones. Great ones.
Maybe Martin was the roughest dude I ever had to play.
Yes.
It's just so much richness. And I just had to touch on that because one thing that I do love about you, brother, is the camaraderie you have still with your friends. I believe, did you all do Can You Stand the Rain?
Oh, yeah. I'm listening. I am a huge New Edition fan. Me and my good friend Morris, we always go back and forth and been doing it for years on who should be Ralph or whatever. But I've been a New Edition fan my entire life, man. And so, yeah, we would definitely grow up and perform doing those things with my guys, Terrence Willis, Troy Brown. Yeah, my boy Willie Battle, Early Nash.
I think I saw you on Facebook one time when y'all did it. I was dying.
Dominic French, I think I was in the 7th or 8th grade at Coronado. I didn't even realize they had recorders back then, but Diallo French, who recorded it, was able to put that on social media. And so that is
crazy, brother. Absolutely. And that's the thing about it, man. That's why I brought you on the show, because you have so much to offer the world. And my biggest thing is it doesn't have to just be a WYCO thing.
Yeah.
What we do that special expands beyond our circle.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes people to leave in order to be appreciated. So when you come back,
absolutely,
they'll appreciate you more because they'll say, well, why are they paying attention? Well, he's from where I'm from. such as people like Janelle Monáe, such as
Yes.
different artists, even Joe Black. He's doing
A
great and
beast.
phenomenal things.
Absolutely. I'm
He is a beast in
so
that.
proud to see what he's doing, man. All the time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you fall in that category for me because you've always been the clean cut brother. We all have our things we go through, but one thing that I can say about you is that you're sincere, and being sincere, integrity and character says a lot.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your college experience. Well, stemming from your college experience coming into the real world, because I know you come from a close-knit family.
Yeah.
So you've actually lived in a couple of places around, the United States.
Yes.
How was that for you when it was time for you to pack up and go or make decisions, business mind? Because this gentleman is a CEO, motivational speaker, coach, mentor, trainer. I'm not going to train with him because I'm going to lose all this. All this will be gone, and he's going to hold me to it. But how was it? Because one of the biggest things that I tell people is you can always go home.
Absolutely.
But I tell people you need to venture out first to see if you can make it, because home's not going nowhere.
Absolutely. It's always going to be there.
Absolutely. So what was your mind frame in when it was time to go?
I'm going to back up a little bit if you don't mind.
No, take your time. You got the floor.
I'm going to go from FL Schlegel, senior year, coached by legendary Chuck Minor, right? I mean, we were going to have a great season. My road dog, my best friend still today, Willie Battle. Of course, we had D. Floyd, LB Black, Brent Braswell, Tyrone Head. We had a squad. But at the time, when I look back now, I remember a Saturday morning, I got a call and I was like, hey, you got to be down at Wyandotte. And I'm like, be down at Wyandotte by this time for what? You have to take some test. Bro, I had no idea what SAT or ACT, anything was. I showed up there, they give me the pen or the pencil, and I take my ACT. I had no idea what the purpose of taking, nothing. And so the score came out, I think I got a 14 or a 15, but it didn't matter because I had been going to basketball camps ever since my freshman year at Garden City Community College. And I wanted to go to Garden City. I didn't have any idea, really understanding the D1 junior, the junior college route, NAIA. Right. I knew I was receiving a tremendous amount of letters at the time. But listen, I just wanted to go to GCC because Coach Carey, Coach Davidson, they were great people, man. And I was just more important to just go and play the game that I love and enjoy the time that I had, right? I never had aspirations really of trying to go overseas and trying to go to the league or whatever. I just knew I wanted to take this basketball talent that I had as far as it can take me. So I went to Garden City Community College. We had 2 phenomenal years with my brothers, D. Hancock.
Come on, Hank.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
When he looked in the rim.
Rim.
I'm with you. The crowd was cheering for 2 minutes in the fall.
The most phenomenal player. We are great friends today that I've ever had the opportunity to play with. Went there for 2 years and I met these people who became my booster parents. Their name is George and Laura Hopkins. And at the time, I just thought he was the mayor of Garden City, but he actually was an optometrist as well. I got poked in my eye during this game and I had to get 8 stitches on my eyeball. And George brought me all of these goggles. And I'm like, where are you getting these goggles from? Right. He's like, well, I'm an optometrist, and just growing up from the dot, we were not aware of a lot of those things. Right. I didn't know people that were mayors or optometrists and just so many things that we weren't taught growing up there. And at that time, I started realizing there was a different world that we have not been taught, right? Or we haven't learned about. And so those 2 great years at Garden City, I didn't want to leave because I was learning more and more, and not just about the game of basketball, but really about the game of life. I had the opportunity to meet my beautiful wife, Jennifer. We'll be married 27 years. This upcoming June, we've been together for 30 years. We have 3 beautiful children. And so I got a chance to meet her at Garden City as well. But take that and I signed at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And I'm coming back home. And the story of, I was really going to sign at San Diego State. or I was looking at the University of Hawaii just simply because I wanted to live in Hawaii.
Yeah, I was
for a
about to
number of
say, why
years.
not take advantage of it? And San Diego is
Absolutely.
beautiful too.
But Jennifer was pregnant. And no one knew she was pregnant. So I signed back home because I felt my family would be there to assist me. And so I worked my entire life. I'm back home, had an opportunity to play. We were going to play KU that year. My boy Willie was down in Southwest Texas. We had them on the schedule. And the very first game, my daughter Shantae was born. And so she was born earlier that day. And then I came to pregame meal. And when I went there, everyone clapped and was like, man, congratulations and everything. And CJ, I was like, congratulations. How am I going to take care of this? The NCAA doesn't allow me to work, right? I'm at the college all day long from sun up to sundown.
Right.
And that very first game I played against Southwest Missouri State.
Come on, that's where my sister went.
At the time. Yep.
Tanya Davis.
Yep. I played against them. That's the only game I played at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, man. And I quit.
Really?
Yep. I played one game. The next day I stepped in and I told Coach Lee Hunt and everybody, I have to quit. They said, Shawn, you got to think, you have to think about this. Now, looking back, I would have tried to fight through it, but my parents didn't go to college. All of this is new, right? And I didn't have one person in my life at that time that I respected enough to really guide me. And I just knew. He said, Shawn, give it 3 days. And I'm like, listen, my daughter's going to be 3 days old. She's still going to be here. That's what
And it's embedded in you that you have responsibility. So you had to go ahead and
I had to.
What you felt was right for you at that time without really having somebody mentor you to say, hey, this is what we can offer. And this is earlier in time. So
absolutely. So I quit, bro. And it was so devastating. Depression set in. I got a job, job, just over broke. That's where we were. We spent the next couple of years doing that. They kept me on scholarship. I fronted that entire semester, acting like, yeah, I'm doing all right. Bro, I was broken.
Yes.
I was broken to the core. I failed. I got all F's, W's, and I's, right? I withdrew incomplete. It was an absolute train wreck. And
I understand.
Had school paid for, and I feel like I blew everything. But every time I looked into my daughter's eyes, Shantae, she didn't care about the game of basketball. She didn't care about any of those things. And so today, looking forward, I would make that exact same decision again to make sure that I put my family first. So as I fast forward, man, and I don't want to get too deep in some things, but there was a time in my life that, man, I started quitting. When things got difficult, I just quit. Because it became habit. It became easier to just quit and run from something in order to try to better myself. And I'm going somewhere with this simply because you want to know what's my mindset. How did I get to this point? And kind of make a long story short to get into it, a good friend of mine, his name is AJ Jones. He lived out in Lakin, Kansas, and he was a commodities broker. And at this time, I'm working at Airborne Express. I'm on the docks. I'm just trying to find a job. I never finished school, right? I never took advantage of completing my degree. So I'm getting what life is throwing my way at this time. And I have 2 children at this time. And so I'm just trying to really find my way. I went back and played at Avalon College, trying to just get school paid for and all these things. And I went to go trade commodities back at Garden City, Kansas.
Wow.
And CJ, and I'm gonna tell you this, I could not pass the test. I could not pass that commodities test, man. And it's a 2-part test: market knowledge, rules and regulations. Brother, I'm talking about like 6, 7 times.
Dang.
I could not pass the test.
And that has to be more pressure on you too, knowing that you're actually trying and you keep signing up for it.
And I can't do it. So I had to make some changes to learn how to start talking the farmer's language. And I did that. And I remember going to Oklahoma City, took the test, passed the test. New additions with me the whole way because I didn't have the money to stay any place. So I would drive Oklahoma City, take a 3-hour test, drive back home. Drive to Colorado, and I passed this test.
Golly.
That last time. And I was so excited, my brother. When I looked up, there wasn't GPS, cell phones, or anything. I looked up and I was in Texas. I made a wrong turn, but I was just so excited that I drove and I'm in Texas and I should be heading back to Garden City. And at that time, that's when I made the switch to say, listen, I'm going to power through difficult times. I'm no longer going to quit, right? And I'm going to continue to put my family first. And at that time, I made the switch. And ever since then, right? Not that I welcome any difficult time or difficult things happening to me, but I don't run from them. Let's just face it head on and let's come up with a solution, my brother.
And that's so important and powerful. I can't even front. In the last 3 years of my life, I've been in that season where, like, you come from the dot. You know, people always thought I was a great kid, but they didn't see what I held inside. And I don't publicly go into a lot of things, but I do admit the pressures from sports. People like Al Collins saved my life, saved my life. And I think that people need to understand, as well as parents dealing with sports, or I always promote that kids find something outside of the sport that they love, at least two subjects. But even dealing with that, the depression that comes with it, or even people like, you have the Greens and Carruthers, sometimes it's the name that's a stigma, and that adds pressure on everything else. So it truly means a lot to hear who you are now, but understanding that you went through a broken season after not playing. You went through struggling in basically character building, and integrity kicked in, and it's never, I tell people, some people are just born with it. They're just born leaders, born with just the get-go. And for me, you know, not having kids, I've only had me. So as long as I'm okay, or I think I'm okay, I'm good.
Absolutely.
But it finally kicked in after about 3 years ago when my brother was murdered, and life just changed. And I had to look at myself. And my pastor told me, he was like, you know, if you can't be friends with men, something's wrong. You have to be around people that hold you accountable. So
absolutely,
your story, just hearing that little bit, is doing a lot for me. I was emotional listening to it because I've been where you've been without being able to tell anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, you just smile, because if you frown, then people are going to ask you what's wrong. So you just smile through it. You just keep it moving.
That's right.
Another thing that I wouldn't feel right without discussing, I appreciate the way that you love your wife. We're talking, you said 27 years?
20, at 27 years.
So this is the way I look at that too. It's 27 years of loving somebody, growing with somebody, being able to be a leader, yet know how to pull back the reins, because I'm pretty sure she's an intelligent woman from what I see and the way the household is going.
Yes.
And I don't touch on too many things, but I appreciate you for choosing a young lady, because you grew up, it was a time where people would be like, why?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
even if it's interracial dating, this is my thing that I tell people. And I emphasize this to young men and women of all ethnicities. When you love somebody, you love them. Don't marry for the culture.
Absolutely.
Because you may never be married. If God has the perfect person for you, and we want God's blessings, why do we deny what God has placed for you?
Absolutely.
And I truly appreciate that, because at the end of the day, the way that you love on your wife, the way that your kids are, the way that your mother accepted, that's all beautiful and it's healthy. And I would say this to anybody, no matter what ethnicity is, because at the end of the day, you know, the best thing that God has taught me in listening to the stories, and it holds me accountable, is no matter what I do, I might be looked up as filthy rags, because he doesn't care on the outside. All he sees is your heart.
Yes.
So your intentions of your heart, and if that love is real, I'm all for going for it. So
absolutely,
just seeing your pictures, seeing how you are, seeing just you two together.
Yes.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. So I wanted to acknowledge your wife. I wanted to acknowledge your kids. How has marriage been? You know, how has she been there and supportive of you, and you supportive of her? From, I know it had to be something when you walked away from sports. And people have to understand, it's not necessarily the athletes sometimes, it's the people that love you the most that we take advantage of and welcome outside love instantly. But the ones that love us the most, boy, we tear them apart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, I'm just, let's touch bases on the relationship. Listen, my wife is white. she's Caucasian, right? And listen, I'm grew up from the dot, never played with a white person on my team, right? I grew up and I just played with brothers my entire life playing the game of basketball. And I go to Garden City and I meet her my sophomore year of Garden City right before school started. And the first day I met her, there was never a day that we didn't see each other unless I was away at a game, you know, and didn't return until the next day. But what I want to talk about and kind of touch bases with is, bro, it's been hell. It's been very difficult, right? It hasn't been something that we haven't had to work through, right? Because the same people that cheered for me when I played basketball was the same people that was against me almost instantaneously, right? So we deal with racism. I deal with it every day, just like yourself and so many of the viewers out there, right? Yesterday, we just had one of the greatest birthdays of one of the greatest leaders that we are ever going to encounter in my lifetime, I think forever, right? And because of what he sacrificed, it gave me the opportunity to be married to Jennifer for 27 years, right? Listen, my father, we're from Brownsville, Tennessee. That's where we are originally.
Oh, Lord.
Right?
Tennessee?
Yes, we are from there. And my family, my mom, they have told me the stories, man. They've told me the stories when her best friend became a teenager. They wanted my mom to now call her Miss. And it's just crazy. And my grandfather stood up and says, well, if my daughter is going to call your daughter Miss, your daughter's going to call my daughter Miss. And of course, they kicked them off the land. But what they didn't know, my grandfather had already purchased the house and the family just moved right on in, right? And so all the preparation and all these things, and I'm telling people this because I do smile, I am grateful, but Jen and myself, we have had to work at this, right? Both families have not always been happy of our relationship simply because of the color of our skins. And we have had to work, and still today, right? There's part of, and I'll just keep it 100, man. There's part of her family I just really don't gel with, right? Just things that they have said, things they have done, but that's okay. I don't hold that in my heart. I just let it go and I let people be who they are. And one thing I always say is trust them. When they show you who they are, just trust them. But on the flip side, I've had some people in my family do some of the same things, right? And I feel the exact same way. But what you said is very important, right? Love is love. That's who I fell in love with. She's the one I want to grow old with and hopefully die in her arms one day, right? When we are old and gray. And I have 3 beautiful children. But when I first met Jen in Garden City, Jen had 2 kids. A lot of people don't know this. And I'm putting it out there. She had 2 kids, Alyssa, who passed away right before I met her at 9 months old. And our daughter, Jaleesa, is named after Alyssa. And she had another son she gave up, Matt Johnson, who lives in Dodge City, Kansas, does a great job. He's a fireman there in Dodge City, Kansas. We have a great relationship with him. But when I met her, people in Garden City says that I'll be dead of AIDS by age 35. And these are people that are on my Facebook page now. These are adults that were telling me, leave her alone. It's not going to work. She's not the one for you. And what I seen was someone totally different. Right. And I'm so glad that God chose her for me and me for her. Right. And so we have a bond that no one can break, no matter what they are saying. All of us has a past, man.
Absolutely.
And who am I to judge her or her to judge me or us to judge anybody about that? But we got married in Vegas in the back of a limousine. We had $710 to our name. We got married at the Little White Chapel because Michael Jordan came on and said, hey, I'm Michael Jordan. I was married at the Little White Chapel. We went there. We got married. 27 years later, we are still together, and she is still the love of my life.
Absolutely. And I think that is so, it's beautiful. I would say that. And the reason being is, good friends know, I always tell people, everybody knows somebody before they met you.
Absolutely. Right.
Everybody, even me, I know that.
Everybody.
And I think when God is in something, you struggle not to accept it.
Yeah.
Even when people say, hey, don't pray for me.
Yeah.
If you're in the book of life, he already got you. And
That's
that's a struggle to try to go ahead and disconnect. And I'm so glad that you brought you all together and that you shared that. Number one, I appreciate you sharing and being transparent, because I think more men need to be transparent, as well as when you talk about marriage. And I'm not saying that everybody has to be married, but you hear so many bad things about marriage.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's good to hear some healthy things happen, just like Dre and Rail I had on the show, the young couple. They've been through everything, but they are happy. They have a brand new baby.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much that goes into it. And your kids, I mean, they're beautiful kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
That's
have
what
a
keeps me
beautiful
going
family.
every day, man. I mean, I am truly, truly blessed. I have to say this. I have dealt with racism at a level that most people would not ever know. I'm talking about guns pulled on me on the highway, skinheads, all of these things we have had to deal with. And I'm just with my wife and my kids.
Right.
And it's been amazing. But through all of that, we have been able to endure, and we become stronger and stronger because of it. And I love to share the story, because the world in 2040, 2050, whenever they're talking about it, is going to be predominantly brown.
Right.
That's just where we're heading to, right? I mean, some of the same people that don't like me or don't like couples like us.
And that grandbaby.
There you go.
And that's a hard pill to swallow.
It sure
is.
It's
a hard pill to swallow. And that's what I tell a lot of people. Man, that is a hard pill to swallow, because now you have to understand yourself. You have to deal with your ignorance or resentment.
Yes.
And I believe, I mean, that goes even for the Black community, like I tell people.
That too.
Some of the times these sisters or brothers that saying things, they don't even want a relationship with the person they're talking about. It's just naturally into them. That's why when we grow up and we hear, you know, white people, oh, you stick with your own race. Well, I grew up in a household where one of my uncles told me, hey, you better not bring no white girl home. Absolutely. It's the same thing.
Yes.
But I think I have no problem with dating, interracial dating or anything. One of the biggest lies that I told my niece at the time when we had a talk, and I want you to meet a beautiful king and Black, and I emphasize Black, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
But then I had to come back and say, you know what? I want you to have a king. As long as he loves you the way that I do, I can see past his color.
That's right.
He may not understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
But if he's willing to understand it, or know when to take the back seat, or allow you to express and talk to whoever, that's one thing. Because I didn't want her to be exhausted from trying to find a king mentally, emotionally, physically, to where she resents and she'll just settle. So that's the reason why I wanted to give you your flowers as far as your marriage relationship. And it wasn't just this huge interracial thing that I wanted to touch on, but I see love when I see it.
Yeah.
And despite everything, people around you and those people that's on your Facebook page who say, hey, you shouldn't X, Y, Z, they have to love it.
Yes.
They have to love it.
We talk about their remarks all the time, Jen and I, right? And the same people that said that, and that was 30 years ago, we just let it, we just let it go. But the world has a way of making things that are impossible very possible.
Absolutely.
And we live it every single day of our lives. And listen, this last election didn't help anything, right? You've seen people's true colors for who they are. It gave them the permission to show who they really were, right?
Absolutely.
And that just really brought us even closer together. But I will say this. My mom is a queen, right? I got 3 queens that are my sisters. I got my nieces, right? I got my cousins. I got all them people that, listen, I'll do anything in the world for. And it's super important for us to understand that, that I didn't go out in search of Jen, right? Or someone else. It just organically happened. And then that's when I knew at the time it was meant to happen, right? And there are some relationships where we don't keep it. My kids has grown up and knowing that they're going to be looked at as a Black man and a Black woman in this world we live in, right? I don't pull the wool over their eyes. I keep it 1,000 with them in everything that we are doing. They understand that they have their mother's side, but the world we live in here in America, they're gonna look at Tyson and he's gonna be Black. I don't care how curly his hair is. I don't care how curly Shantae's and Jaleesa's hair are, or blue their eyes are. They're gonna be Black, right? And so I try to raise them accordingly to that.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important that you touch on that, because no matter what happens, I still feel like it's a shame and it's a pressure that we have to have the talk.
Yeah, we have to have the talk.
But even without that, like I said, I love that you pointed out that just because you met the love of your life doesn't mean that you don't know your roots, because I tell people all the time, J. Cole's father wasn't there, but his mother, who was white, encouraged him to learn about his history.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's important. I mean, like I was telling people, half the Black girl magic, the whole Jesse, I said, everybody that's the front runners, they all kind of light skinned. They all kind of, they light skinned, they Black as hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just comes with wanting to learn your history. And
absolutely,
like I tell people, you never know who made Kirk Franklin. All we see is Kirk Franklin. So we need people like you with a voice and a platform to be able to speak your truth. And that's another reason why I want to bring you on this podcast. Now let's segue off of this, because I don't have no fancy intro. Brother, tell us where you are right now as far as your entrepreneurship. I love breaking it down with Brown. I love it. I repost it all the time.
Thank you. Yeah, you sure do.
Tired of it. Every time you got one, it hits on time. Tell us where you are mentally, emotionally, and what's driving you right now. What do you have going on?
You know, what's driving me right now? You're looking at someone who's had 2 bankruptcies, right? I went through my first bankruptcy after leaving UMKC. I was just in a dark spot, dark place in my life. Had a tremendous amount of success with business, and I'll just show you real quick. So right here, I keep my Kansas City Schlegel diploma, right? Because that's where it always started at.
But you ain't got to get the Schlegel department. You ain't got to have the good wood. You ain't got to put on the good wood.
I got to put the good wood around it. Then I keep Garden City close, right? Because that's where I met my wife, and she's helped change my life and the game of basketball at Garden City. I keep Kobe. I keep MJ. I keep UMKC. Here's my letter of intent, April 13th, 1992, which was actually my birthday. And I keep this here, Kansas City Star Post, myself, Eddie Kennison, we were partners. And it says branching in and digging in and branching out. And the reason I keep those things there is because it failed. In 2008, when the market hit, we didn't fail, but the companies failed. And I had everything you can think of, maybe net worths of millions of dollars or whatever. I lost everything. I lost my houses. I lost my cars. I lost my land. I lost my boat. I lost everything you can think of. But I didn't lose my self-respect or dignity, because my employees at the time, they were with me to help me acquire all of that stuff. And so I held on to that company, even though it put me in bankruptcy, until they were all placed and had another job, because it's easy to acquire a job with the job. Mm-hmm. And then at that time, we had to do what we need to do to shut the companies down. And then my father died. 2008, I decided to relocate to Arizona. 2 months into me moving to Arizona, man, my father died. I got that call from my sister, had to turn back around and go back home, and my superhero had passed away. And at that time, the family's looking like, right, maybe who can help mom? Not knowing, man, my inner storm is a category 5, right? I mean, we are hemorrhaging money. We don't have very much money, but everyone's looking at what it used to be.
Right.
And so I went back. Absolutely. I went back to working a night job at Ecolab Pest Elimination. I was a CEO.
Ecolab?
At Ecolab, brother. Went back to doing that at night, worked at a cemetery during the day, really unsure what I needed to do in life, till I got into the financial services industry, because my father didn't pass away with life insurance. And that's what helped me get into that area, because he didn't leave my mom in the best possible situation. And after working at Owens Corning Fiberglass for 29 years, I felt no one went down there and shared with him the value of when we pass on, you ought to leave a legacy. And so I made it my point at that time to start sharing his story like I'm doing today. And I
Absolutely.
got into the financial services and insurance business. And that started out with Farm Bureau Financial Services. So fast forward, I've had State Farm offices. I'm a guy that if there's two birds in the tree, I'm going to jump out and grow wings on the way down. I'm not going to wait until I'm fully developed, right? I am always going to take those risks. So as it sits today, I still own an American Family Insurance Agency. My beautiful wife, Jen, owns Insurance by Jen, which is an independent insurance agency. So for business that we can't write, of course, I just share that business with my wife. And so we work as a team every single day with each other. She's my best friend in the world. I have a number of other businesses, but I do want to share this. I talked to my partners today and let them know that I'm going to be on here. But Bonham Construction and Development, right? We are coming to Kansas City. I just finished a deal with my limited partner, Steve Hooks. So me and Steve,
Steve.
And the reason for this, my partner and the founder, Gerald Turner, who lives here in Chandler, Arizona.
Okay.
We do a lot of business here in the commercial residential area, but we really want to go to Kansas City because my goal is this, is not only to be a part of the growth that our great city is having, but when they build that bridge that's going to cross right from Missouri over to Kansas City, Kansas, I want to be there to be instrumental and build up some of the neighborhoods that I drove through, some of the neighborhoods that's been underdeveloped for so many years, right? And there's other things that I have that I want to help bring back to KCK, but Bonham is Latin for good, right? And what we do good, we make good, and we build good. That is exactly what we're doing. So that's where my focus lies. We're also going to open up in Atlanta as well as Dallas, Fort Worth. And so this is getting ready to happen. No one knows about this. I asked them, is it okay to share this news today on the podcast with you? And they said, absolutely. And so you are the first to hear about Bonham and our construction company. And listen, we are minority owned, and it's not a lot of us. It's only like 3.4% of us even in the industry, let alone that's workers in the industry, let alone being general contractors and owning their own development and construction company. And that's what we're doing right now, brother.
That's huge. I'm honored. Number one, tell everybody that's listening, no matter if they listen or not, let them know thank you. Because, I was just talking to a couple of people yesterday and they were trying to find developers. They're trying to find Black-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses. And I think that's huge. And I think it's a blessing more than anything that people that I grew up with who are a little bit older are starting to buy houses on Quindara.
Absolutely.
They're starting to understand, because a lot of times I tell people the information has been out there, but it took TV shows like Trading Spaces for people to understand equity. Because for so long, I feel like I'd use an example of a car. Somebody put a small dent in your car. Yeah. Either you're going to roll with that small dent, or you're going to take that $500 they give you. Most people will pocket it. Yeah. But that's why I tell people you have to understand the way that generations work and knowing information, because like I said, a lot of people complain about what's happening in inner cities. Yes. We built Rosewood. Absolutely. But the brown community, Spanish, they're turning into they understand, because if you have 10 people in a house making $100 an hour, you put it in a pot until everybody rotates. So it's nothing. And that's what I tell people. We have to have that mind state that if your family is all right, take care of home so you can build, because I think nowadays we're building legacies. And brothers, what you're about to do for Kansas City, Atlanta, and Dallas is huge and much needed. And I truly respect. And I said it at the beginning, you have people that leave, then you have people that truly leave, but they're invested, and home is never on their mind. So just because it doesn't happen where you're at right now in Wyandotte County or any city that you are, sometimes it's meant for you to leave. Absolutely. Come back bearing fruits. That's right. That's right. And can I answer something about breaking it down with Brown? Oh, come on, brother. You got the floor. Listen, this is your time. What up? It's your boy. Listen, the reason I do that is it's like a promise I made to God, right? After this last bankruptcy, I'm like, God, listen, I know I'm going to reach the mountaintop again, but I want to share the vision that you give me and help as many people on my way going back up.
And the best way to do that now is to try to encourage people to be the best version of themselves. Don't try to be something that you're not. Just be the best version of yourself. And so often we get up, we go to work, we can't stand what we're doing. Listen, we have a choice. Everyone has a choice. And I know the bills come due and all these other things, but sometimes you can't afford not to do it. You have to go do it, because just on the opposite side of that fear is really where your blessings are. Every dream and goal that you have is right there,
Literally,
right? But if you surround yourself with people that's not gonna help push you, edge you, support you, you will stay exactly where you are. And so I do breaking it down with Brown for that reason. If it just reaches one person and encourage them to do it, that's the reason I do it, because I'm really fulfilling a promise that I made to him. But also I put it on YouTube because I want to create a catalog for my grandkids. For one day when I'm not here, they can look back and say, this is what Grandpa was about, as they are sitting on my ranch, right? As I leave them as a legacy.
Absolutely. And that is so important because, like I said, you never know who watches you.
Absolutely.
And who's paying attention. And brother, you have always been an inspiring person, inspiration to me, simply from the smile, the way that you carry yourself. Even having, giving yourself a platform. And I feel like this show that I do isn't for me. I've always wanted to do radio broadcast, and that was broadcast journalism's always been my thing ever since Monica Nightingale and all that back in the day.
Yes.
But it brings me joy because I believe that we always look for these big names.
Yeah.
But I believe that the people around you in your neighborhood could be the next voice. We just have to give them the platform.
That's right.
Brother, the lifestyle that you've shown, the way that you love your mother and family, the way that you love your wife, the way that you are willing to jump out without wings and hit the ground and tumble a little bit, but eventually you're still going to eat and grow and develop. I think that we need to hear that. People like you and my cousin Alonzo and people that are trying to leave legacies.
That's right.
And legacy is so important in our community, period. We've seen what a legacy can leave for other ethnicities and more.
We see it all the time.
If we didn't get red light, well, that's a whole nother thing dealing with home.
I know, but
equity, that instant equity that you get.
That's right.
Again, I just wanted to bring you on the show more than anything out of love, out of respect. You truly inspire me. When I be reposting, it's not just because I think you're a cool person or that's Brown. It's because I actually listen. And I grew up never knowing that I would be a person that would take quotes on the wall. When I was in high school, I went past quotes.
Absolutely.
One day I made a vision board and it clicked for me.
There it is.
Like these quotes it means something.
Yes.
So with
say that one more, hold on. Say that one more time, because I don't want the people to miss that, right? You talk about your vision board and it clicked for you.
It clicked.
Right. And when that click happens, right, now you are on to your purpose. And people have to know that they can't quit, man. They cannot quit doing it. And the reason I do it, the reason you do it, is we are trying to reach people, man, for them to be able to live their purpose. Man, we are such a talented people. Listen, we see it in every walk of life, right? From music to clothes to everything that we do. And we have people that sit there and give 30, 40 years to somebody who don't care anything about them, who will replace them in a week's notice.
Absolutely.
Now, for some people, there are people that we need to have certain jobs filled in order to keep things going, in order to protect us, in order to care for us, in order to do some of those other things. But there are some people out there that's going to watch this. And I'm talking to you. You have greatness within you. You have this, and you can't sit back and just let your life go to waste when you have this greatness in you. Go out, find somebody like myself, find somebody like CJ, and get the help that you need to unleash that to the world, because there are people that need it.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you enough. Anybody that knows me, one of my biggest fears is success. I've always had a fear of success because sometimes with success, you find out who you really are.
Absolutely.
And for me, that has always been a self-sabotaging thing. Even when I play sports, I've only played 70%. I've never given 100% at anything in life. I was just blessed to be in a position and be good enough to just hang and be athletic or
Yep.
drawing or music or,
Yep.
it's one of those things where I battle within myself because I always ask, what do you do when God has given you a lot of talents and the world
Yep.
wants you to dwindle it down to one?
Yeah.
And I realized I'm not a one type of person. My friends are telling me to do real estate forever. They've been telling me that because they were like, you deal with people,
Yes.
travel, everything. So I just appreciated what you're saying because now I have the mind frame of muscle memory.
That's
I
right.
have to challenge myself in order to get over that hump of where
Yep.
I used to be and challenge myself. So everything that you're saying has been a blessing to me. And if anybody knows me or knows somebody that needs to hear this, because I verbally admit my flaws, you can lie to anybody in the world, but you can't lie to yourself.
Absolutely.
Those conversations in your mind that you have with yourself
Yes.
be that 3% that pushes you or drives you. I want to open up the floor for shout outs for you because I won't be before you long, but is there anybody that you would love to give thanks for or just let you know how you feel and how important they are?
Listen, first and foremost, just my Heavenly Father for just waking me up. I believe health is so important. So I'm so grateful to be healthy, to be able to do the things that I do. And I do my part and he does his part by giving me life every morning so far. And so I don't want to waste that. I want to give thanks, of course, to Herman Brown Jr., who's my pops, passed away in 2008. And I got mom today and I'll keep her and I'll take care of her until the end. And
Absolutely.
so, and of course, my mom, Mary Brown, I love her to life. All my kids have that tattooed on them. I love you to life. My beautiful wife, Jennifer, my oldest daughter, Shantae, my middle daughter, Jaleesa, and my son, Tyson. But more importantly, there's so many people that I'm leaving out. I want to give thanks to you for giving me this platform to just share. Hopefully it touches somebody and reaches someone maybe that they're dealing with or they're afraid to take that next step or they're in the midst of a storm right now. And this maybe can help comfort them and let them know that things are going to be okay on the other side.
Absolutely.
But I want to send a major shout out to Wyandotte County.
Absolutely.
Listen, the doc. I tell people all the there it is 913, right? All the time. My son, my friends, people, and they're like, man, what is it about this place? I mean, I grew up at a beautiful time. I love it. And I want to send shouts out, man, to all the people that just help bring me up, man, that cuddled me, that took care of me. Listen, the basketball team, I'm talking about the Steve Hooks, the Brian Williams, the Stephen Priestley, the Mark Buckner, my brother Corey Brown, the Derek Harts. I mean, I can just go Rico Ghostins and people that truly just looked out for us and paved the way. But then after us, right? The CJ Horns, right? The Earl Watson who took it to levels of, unbelievable. The Joe Blacks that you mentioned earlier, Chris Weems, right? I'm talking about guys that I go back and I would watch and just follow the Jabos, right? People that were just phenomenal athletes, the Andy Taylors, the Corey Welches.
Come on.
Listen, the Leonard Thomases, the Marlon Washingtons. I can just go on and on all these guys, Milton, that I looked up to, man, and they had no idea that this little young eyes were looking up to them and still look up to these guys today, the ones that are still here with us on social media, right?
Absolutely.
And so, listen, it's all about the dot. And so I appreciate everything, man. And I love it. And can I say this? So I moved away from Kansas City in 2008, went to Atlanta for 2 years, which I loved the ATL, came back to Kansas City in 2019 to get my mom. And when I came back to Kansas City, I went to Schlegel every single Thursday. And I sat in the lunchroom through every single lunch period. And I just sat there and I spoke to these kids. And when I'm in the hallways and when I'm sitting down with them, I'm seeing the shift, the way these kids talk, the disrespect that they have for the
Yes.
teachers and themselves. And
Mhm.
I just wanted to do my part by sitting down with them and let them know 30 years ago, I sat in this exact same lunchroom.
Right, right.
Right. And they thought I touched so many lives, whether it's paying for lunches, giving people clothes, right? They stopped coming to school because they didn't have clothes. I mean, there's a number of different things I'm doing. And I'm not saying this to try to get a pat on my back
No.
or anything like that. My point for saying all this is I want to continue to help, right? And one person's not enough. The things that you are doing is outstanding. And there are so many people that are just like us in Kansas City, Kansas right now, helping the community. And I want to commend them for doing the things that they do for this next generation, man, because we need it. We
Absolutely.
need you, right? And they need you. And so I want to just send a shout out to them, people who are there in the community that never left the community, that are vital to the success of this next generation. So I want to definitely send a shout out to all
Truly
of them as
needed.
well.
Really, truly needed. Because I never thought it would be a time in life where OGs didn't get respect.
Absolutely.
Their head is on a swivel, just like anything else. And
Yeah.
you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
Very hard, because me living in Houston, Texas, and seeing
Yeah.
their bad versus where I come from, I'm like,
right.
Okay. But you know, again, I just had to verbally tell you that I love what you're doing. I love you as a person. I love you as a
Thank
man.
you. The feeling's mutual, brother. Thank
Family.
you. Love you too.
And anytime you would like to come on the show, you have a green light, because I believe that what you're doing, the impact that it shows a lot for you to move to Arizona,
Yeah.
for them to trust you enough to bring it down to Wyandotte County. And that's leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
That's showing integrity and character. And I just wanted to give you your flowers here, man, more than anything.
Brother, I truly appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning, I'm totally honored to be a part of this. But more importantly, you are phenomenal, brother. And you continue to do what you are doing, because you are making a difference. And it's just going to continue to grow. You will be blessed, abundantly, over anything that you are thinking about, because you're not doing it for that reason. It's just part of the process. And you continue to stay steadfast in everything that you're doing, and giving people like me an opportunity just to come out here and share our stories. But more importantly, none of this is possible without you. And one more thing I want to say, and I want to say this on record. If you ever need a brother, if you ever need an accountability partner, bro, just let me know, and we can talk weekly, bi-weekly, whatever works for you. But I want to be there to make sure that iron strengthens iron, right? That I'm going to be there to help you. We can laugh together, but I want to be there when we got to cry with each other, brother. And so I want to make that offer to you right now, no matter where it is. If you need that, let's come together and make that happen.
I appreciate it. No, I truly do, because like I said, my life, I feel, isn't for me necessarily. It's to pay it forward. And
absolutely.
I just truly appreciate that, because I think that men need to understand, just to be honest and be fruitful, and to be able to converse with each other is important. You know, anybody can be a rock for their family, but I always tell people, the more you stay out there in that ocean, in that water, you become smoother and smoother.
Absolutely.
You have to learn how to be not only a man or human, you have to learn how to be humane. So I truly appreciate that. And I would love to continue talking to you off and on, and just running things past you, or vice versa. If there's anything that I can do, no matter if it's for the family or for business or anything, if I know anything, I'll offer that for you. Just hold on for 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Okay. Appreciate y'all. All right. So everything is taken care of. I'm going to hit you on the phone right quick, okay?
Okay.
All right.